them win, so you're like one of the top free agents when you get signed on to the NBA. And then when you get into it, it's literally a grind game. You're literally playing game after game after game after game just to level your character up, and it's almost impossible to get, like... It's not impossible, but to get above, like, 92. I mean, your highest thing is 99, and it's just ridiculous in that aspect. And that's the reason I probably won't buy 2K20, is because I invested so much time in 2K19 and got nowhere.
You don't want the heartbreak?
No. Or to waste that money on it.
Oh, and just so we are aware of it, it's not... we said it's not a console or anything. It's a Google Chromecast Ultra, which is HDR, 4K, all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it does have like a connection, tester to see, make sure you can get the 4K. And it looks like I need to call my internet provider and complain because I'm going to get a third of what I'm paying for off their tester. So. but it's kind of cool because you test it and then it goes, hey, based on your current download speed, you can get high definition, but you might not get the 4K unless you're over a certain amount or whatever.
Right.
But when you're paying for 100 and you're only getting 28, I kind of want to make a phone call. Maybe tomorrow. I'll call him tomorrow. But yeah, a lot of cool games, a lot of cool stuff. So you don't need to like worry about where you're going to put a console or anything like that. You just need to,
or that it's going to overheat or get plugged with dust.
Yeah, or a kid's going to bump it or something. You literally plug it in and it will stay behind your TV. If your TV's wall mounted, boom, that's it. You never see it. It's good to go. It's all boop, 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 all right there.
I know I have a Roku, HD Roku in the back of my TV. And I'm assuming that the Google Chromecast is kind of the same thing. It's got the app so you can watch Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime and all that stuff. So I might have to switch to the Google Chromecast even though I have a PS4 Pro.
Well, I have a Chromecast and I have a Fire TV and I have a smart TV which does all of that shit anyways. So
yeah, I have a Roku TV.
And just so everybody knows what the asking price is, it's $129 pre-order right now, and that will come with the Google Chromecast Ultra and one of the controllers.
That's awesome.
So I'm curious how many controllers you can have hooked to it. I'm curious if you can just buy the controllers. Maybe it's after the pre-order you can pick up more controllers. Some of that stuff is very curious. But also, as I'm looking at these games, there's only a couple that are multiplayer.
Really?
And I'm not talking about online, like Elder Scrolls Online. That one's an online multiplayer. But I'm talking about, like, of Marvel's Avenger. That's probably multiplayer.
So
Mortal
you're
Kombat,
talking about local
that's like a
multiplayer.
Two-player, but yeah, local, not online. Yeah.
I mean, it's a really cool world that we can do online, multiplayer, but it's also kind of sucks that we have so many games that don't let you do it locally.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone's, excuses, I get my social, I play online with people. It's like, yeah, playing online with people is one thing, but physically having the presence, being able to absorb the energy of another person or, have the empathic connection.
That's like when we do our live podcasts together.
Yeah, when we do them together, I feel like it flows so much more. I mean, right now we're not together, and, it'll probably work, but I mean, like the mannerisms and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure he can see me. I got my camera going, but we're live on his computer, so
I can't see him because my computer's kind of slow, but I am the one running the program to record our podcast, so I don't want audio delay or fuck up because of So I'm just watching Lord B sit there with his Batman shirt on. It's pretty cool.
And we had that happen before. Like, thankfully we weren't live, but we had to like cut 3 recordings together because out of nowhere it just dropped out, and it's because we were.
That was because I turned on my ceiling fan.
Oh, and
and my wiring and
that's almost a worse scenario.
Right. It's like my computer is plugged into the wall, and I turned off the ceiling fan or turned it on, and it completely. I don't know. It could have been that box, the producer that I had, which I upgraded to a new producer so we don't have that annoying clicking sound, which is amazing. Love it. Love it. So I'm going to get into MK11 if that's cool.
Yeah. First, say what MK11 is for the listeners.
MK11 is my controller 1-1. No, I'm just kidding. Controller would be spelled with a K. No, Mortal Kombat. The 11th installment of Mortal Kombat. And I like Mortal Kombat. It can get kind of tedious unless you know the character's moves. You know, everybody's moves are different in the game. So you have to, like, literally learn all the characters. Scorpion's the easiest to control. But I had just finished the storyline the other day, and it involves different timelines, different realms. There is a older and younger version of Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade. There is a character that is merging the timelines because she has reset the timelines many times, apparently. And it always comes out the same. What is it? Liu Kang and Raiden always end up facing each other or getting in a quarrel. And she's trying to do it differently now. And she's trying to make this one different in some way. I'm not going to get into that. But the whole younger and older versions of Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade, the older version of Sonya Blade died almost immediately. And if the younger versions of these characters die, their daughter, Cassie Cage, will no longer exist. So there's a new character, Cassie Cage. Jax Briggs has a daughter in the game, and she's going around with the younger version of her dad, and her older version of her dad is evil. So that's interesting. They end up fighting. Spoiler alert, there's going to be some spoiler alerts here.
It's all spoiler alert. Yeah. All of it.
So if you're going to play the game, go play the game. But here's a little incentive to go play the storyline because it's kind of neat. So the Jax Briggs, the older and younger, end up facing each other, and the younger version dies, and the evil version turns good again because of some fucking, weird thing. Same with Scorpion ends up finding the younger version of himself, and he's evil, and they end up fighting, and the older version wins, but ends up getting killed by something else, and the younger version, the evil version of Scorpion, decides to become good because he believes what dude's saying, the older version. So he comes back and goes to the different realm with Raiden and everybody, and they're like, no, this guy's evil, we don't believe you. And he's like, I'm here to help. And like, nope, we don't believe you, you're gonna have to fight us. Like, fuck you, you're not who you say you are. And then the younger version wins or some shit. So but I wanted to get the big spoiler is every timeline has come out the same, and she can expect what's going to happen except for this one thing that she didn't expect, and that was Raiden ended up dying, or not dying, but pretty much releasing his god energy into Liu Kang. So Liu Kang actually merged with Raiden and became a fire god, which is fucking amazing because he's just sitting there floating around and acting all Liu Kang-ish. So, a lot of blood though if you have kids. So,
you would think if the older version defeated his younger version, he would now have, like, let's say a limp or a giant gash in his face or in his chest when he's get over here.
Right. There was a moment.
That kind of paradoxical scenario.
There was a moment that the younger version of Johnny Cage got cut in his cheek, and then the older version had a scar.
Oh, well, good. At least they did it a little bit.
Right.
But I'm just thinking of that Scorpion scenario.
Well, I suppose the Scorpion scenario, the older version died, the younger one stayed alive. So that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
But the Jax Briggs one is the one where I think the older one died and the younger one stayed alive. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember it.
It's the same scenario.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
No, the younger one died. So you'd think that the older one would be dead already.
Well, yeah, but you just said it the other way around. That's all I said.
My bad. Sorry. But yeah, that was my MK11 review.
That's fun. That sounds fun. Not to mention all the gore and the explosive body stuff and all that.
And now, what is it? Liu Kang and Katana are in control of creating the next timeline.
Okay.
So, like, the ending was Katana going, there's going to be new enemies. There's going to be the old enemies. But we got to make this the right way. Let's do it the way we want to, not some evil person trying to control everything.
Mm-hmm. So, that sounds fun.
Yeah. You had some comedy shit you wanted to talk about. There's something new on Netflix?
Yeah. A little slide in the entertainment realm. There's a couple guys that, I always thought were pretty funny. That one of them is Jim Gaffigan. He's got like this series on there where, I don't know, it says like season 1, episode 1. It's, it's him doing a stand-up, so I don't know exactly how they're going to like throw out more seasons or whatever, but I watched that one and that was pretty funny.
Isn't he kind of a family-oriented comedian where he doesn't really swear?
Yeah.
Brian Regan's another one of those.
Yeah.
Family-oriented.
Very family-oriented, funny, talks a lot about food and, stuff like that. So, wearing what did he call it? Like a sun swimming suit where he looked like in one of them, not this episode, but like there was a comedy thing he did before where he's like, when I go swimming at the hotel pool, I look like a guy who just fell into the pool because I have a long sleeve on. And then they figure out I'm swimming and they're like, oh, it's just hilarious. Sebastian Maniscalco, he does, I don't know if he does podcasts, but I know he's on Sirius XM. It's a very, very funny comedian and someone who, comes from like a Sicilian, Italian, heritage or whatever. Mm-hmm. This guy touches on so much that I am all about, where it's, man, his 2016 one, it touched my heart. This new one, very funny as well. It's crazy. He flips cards, a lot, and he says stuff that it's like I've said to my wife, and then I'm like, see, it's not just
it's real.
It's other people hate it too, stuff like that.
Right, it's real.
And it's, man, I wish I watched it fresh right before we did this, but it's he's got so many good skits.
It's no need to repeat the jokes.
No, I don't want to ruin his stuff, but I was just going to say, I watched it, and then I went over to my mom, and I told her about it, and she's rolling, like tears coming out of her face, just laughing. Because, she's seen the 2016 one, but just bringing it up again, telling her about the 2019 one, and she's like, I think I might have seen it or saw it on there or something, and
right.
So, we went through, we watched the 2016 one while I was over there, and we were losing it. It's hilarious. Also, Dave Chappelle, he's got a new one on there.
I really liked his last one.
Oh, this one, I mean, the last one, I wasn't. It was good, but I don't know. I don't know how I would say it. He lost me a few times, not like lost in the world, but just like to get on with it type scenario for a couple of his things. This one, he's he's not like vaping in your face or whatever, the whole time, stuff like that, where right. It's just like, whatever. But now it's,
he's jeweling.
He says a lot of controversial stuff, and it's,
I bet
a lot of it's on point. Like this one, my cousin shared it, and then I'm like, hey, I'm watching that right now. And then I see it, and it's insane how real this stuff is. It's like he's saying stuff that's like to a lot of people, for the most part would be like whatever, under the rug, not even really give it 2 seconds, but then like he says it to your face basically, and you're like, holy shit, how did I not catch that the first time? Right. Stuff like that. It's a lot of it's straightforward, a lot of it's like you got to think for a second, but I I'm really liking this one